Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monaco for the 6th round of PRL Season 9. Now, Alex retired and we found out exactly where as we went through Saint-Devote on our second flyer, right into the wall, unfortunately for the McLaren driver, and further cars retiring, lowering the number of cars on track from 18 to 16 at this point. Biggest turnout of the season. Of course it happens for Monaco, the track that's the tightest and most difficult to get out of the way. Either way, we do improve on this lap. This is my third flyer on the second run, and we did go red there for a split second, and once again, so we were 3/10 up, then we were down, then up again, so there's still some time to gain, and on this final time to run, we were gaining that time. We could see the delta well green, and then I just had to throw it into the wall at the back and effectively end my session. I should have been going for around an 11.5. Unfortunately not able to do that, though we were third, and that time wouldn't have moved us up to the front row. Dynamite with a fantastic lap for pole in the Force India, our reserve driver of course. Dreglar, championship rival, he's 24 points down on us at this point, and Maznat is my other rival who's only 8 points down, and he qualified behind us, so that's a positive at this point. And no movement in terms of the top three, or even the top four actually, in the first sector of the race. HSV in that Ferrari, right behind us. We had a bit of a lonely first stint, the front guys getting away and the cars behind me falling back. Danielson was the first to retire there, unfortunately for the Toro Rosso driver. We moved up to P2 with Stylen in the pits, and that was followed by Dynamite pitting a lap later. And those guys went in pretty early.
We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the super softs.
Unfortunately, my teammate and Eric both retiring there at the start of lap 13 for me. It was lap 12 for them.
The gap behind us is 11.4.
That's where they went in, exactly where Wehrlein crashed, and Danny is in Wehrlein's car. Now, Eric's a lap down here, so he should be letting Danny through. He neglects to do that and goes very slowly through this sector.
Considering switching to an alternate strategy, do you want to change or stick to plan A?
And this seems quite inexcusable. I really hope that's lag for Eric's benefit, because if this is purposeful,
The front wing is back.
then that's quite a disgrace, especially that final contact, which put Danny out of the race, and my teammate, who was looking pretty good for a nice undercut at that point, was retired, 0 points.
Go now.
We pitted on lap 16, and the lead went back to Dynamite,
Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
but we had overcut him, and note Heisenberg behind. I calculated that perfectly. I was waiting for him to fall far enough back to make a pit stop without coming up behind him, and that's exactly what we did. Dreglar nowhere to be seen, so clearly he came out in traffic and had some issues. Exactly what I was hoping to avoid. And Dynamite, talking of issues, he made contact with some lap traffic, and that meant he had to go for a pit stop. So the lead was ours. Wayno retired from the race at one point, and I was just being careful as other cars were retiring all over the place, just trying to get to the end.
Caution.
This is another retirement. There was a wheel on the left, and you can actually see V6 Turbo has flipped his Mercedes upside down. So both Mercs out, and that one in spectacular fashion. Now, when the fast lap popped up for Dreglar right behind me, I was like, goodness, have I lapped him? Turned out he'd had such a horrible race that he had to pit a few times and ended up behind us. And I could tell he was lagging a bit from that map there down the bottom left, and he's probably frustrated at this point. I had such a massive lead that I just let him unlap himself. He was on ultra softs, clearly quite fast at that point. To my surprise, my other championship rival was also behind me, and I looked back just in time to see the Red Bull. So one Sauber, one Red Bull remaining in this race, the championship protagonists, and of course there's a big battle between those two teams in the Constructors' Championship, and at the moment it looks very good for my team Sauber, given that Maznat was down the bottom end of the top 10. In the blink of an eye, it was the last lap, such a big lead I could afford to cruise home. And indeed, victory in Monaco, second victory of the season, 6 from 6 podiums, broken down into 2 wins, 3 seconds and a 3rd position. There we are on the top step of the podium, very happy with this one. Joining me on the podium was Kid Byers in the McLaren and HSV in the Ferrari. So congratulations to those boys. Keeping it clean out of the walls at least, if not a couple of warnings and corner cutting penalties for some of these blokes. We ended up with one warning throughout the whole race and no damage, and that's the way you want to get to the end of the Monaco Grand Prix. So that triumph moves us to a 25-point lead. Absolutely ecstatic about that. We'll see you guys next time in Canada.